Okay, so I'm Cheyenne,
And I'm Kendall.
and we're your mistresses of ceremonies. We're gonna start off with a quote, and that's gonna be our transition for the performance. Maya Angelou once said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." We thank you all for coming out to this performance, and we hope that you all enjoy yourselves. Without further ado, we're going to have Michael Gaston and Kaylin Thomas singing the Black National Anthem.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Praising the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Lena Horne once said, "I'm still learning, you know. At 80, I feel like there is a lot I don't know." Up now, we will have Jeremy Lott singing Glory.
One day, when the glory comes, it'll be us, it'll be us. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Oh, glory. Wow, glory, glory. Now the war is not over. Victory is won, and we'll fight on till the finish. And then when it's all done, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory. Whoa, whoa.
Political activist Shirley Chisholm once said, "If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair." Up next, we're going to have a Thornwood staff member, Dr. Robinson, performing her original piece titled "Bushel of Black Roses."
She was born a slave, but refused to be one from the cradle to the grave. Escaped from slavery in 1849, but couldn't stand the idea of leaving her black folks behind. Returned to Maryland 19 more times, putting her life on the line, helping the black mankind was a crime. Congress passed the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, but Harriet said, "If you wants to get free, you best to come with me." His story, her story must be told. The way to freedom is on the Underground Railroad. No tracks, no maps, just the clothes on their backs, and wasn't no turning back, cause Harriet was strapped. A reward for her capture was $40,000, more greens than collards to catch her and make her holler. But she didn't bother. See, she never got caught. Taken back what the white man stole and bought. Abolitionism wasn't the end of her plight. She was also an advocate for women's rights. She even served as a nurse and a spy in the Civil War and established a home for the elderly and poor. She did all that and so much more. No wonder they call her the Black Moses. But she's just one flower out that bushel of black roses. Voluptuous lips, big noses, dreads, braids, locks. We gotta give Madam C.J. Walker her props. Her goal was to tame the nappy knots on the tops of our domes. Such a genius, she invented the straightening comb. And I'm grateful because when I was little, getting my hair combed was something I dreaded. Y'all know what I'm talking about if you're tender-headed. So much knowledge in a brief summary. One day in Alabama, Montgomery, a girl named Rosa refused to give up her seat because from a hard day's work, her feet were worn and beat. And this sparked a 362-day boycott. And the U.S. Supreme Court realized they had to stop segregational seating because the powers that be pockets were depleted. One rose started a revolution. And to this day, blacks getting on the back of the bus ain't part of the solution. But when you get on the bus today, it's the back seats you be choosing. Sit in the front seat and sacrifice. A guy named John Wheatley bought a little girl as a servant for his wife. She was what you call one of them good slave masters, taught Phyllis Wheatley to read and write. Phyllis went all the way to England because her poetry was so tight. Upon her return, she was free to marry a free black man, pad and pen in hand, but her reputation as a poet did not withstand. It soon declined and she died virtually unknown. Let's call up the spirits and pour libations so she know her legacy lives on. Just like Josephine Baker, dream chaser, international rump shaker, dancing only covered with bananas and feathers. But who can forget about the black rose that got famous for singing stormy weather? Better known as Lena Horne, came out the womb singing blues when she was born. Took New York by a storm. She was a natural when she performed. The truth must be Sir John, also known as Isabella Bumphrey, the first black woman to speak out against slavery. She had a true mission. She fought for abolition and worked to improve the runaway slaves' living conditions. These ancestral black roses were beautiful, brilliant, resilient, feminine yet tough. But these are only a few of the black queens you should celebrate year-round and not just during Black History Month. Thank you.
So Rosa Parks said, I have learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear. Knowing what must be done does away with fear. Up next, we have our very own Kezia Boyhene performing her poetry piece from the speech and drama team.
My skin is black, my arms are long, my hair is. Black girls have learned to love hard. We rush to grade school dodging whistles and lewd stares from passing cars of men on their way to work. We learn vulgarities as compliments, and we pretend to get used to being touched when we don't want to be. We get attention only because we are pretty. And yes, that is a bad thing. Malcolm X once said, the most unprotected person in America is a black woman. The most disrespected person in America is a black woman. And the most neglected person in America is a black woman. Mother Tongue, by Farah Thames. Poor Woman, by Nina Simone. And Black Girls Have Learned to Love Hard, by Ross Baraka. This is the black female situation. She stands at a crossroads of two, developed ideologies in America, one about women and one about the Negro. During slavery, across the antebellum South, the black female was often the object of their master's lust. Their clothes, tattered backs, whipped, and worse. They were obligated to wear skirts to work to make rape easy. Too easy. See, now everybody was convinced that the slave woman, the black woman, were lewd and lascivious. They said black women invited sexual violence from white men, and any resistance that they displayed was just fake. Once they recalled the whipping of a 13-year-old black girl. The girl was put on all fours, sometimes head up, sometimes head down. And her body was leaking blood into her feared portal. Now this black girl was turned into a black woman prematurely and did not survive. See, we have seen the awful and twisted tales of American freedom up close. And so why hide away now, speak soft or huddle? We have been there already, more than once even. Rotted away in Alabama experiments, beat to death, sunken in Mississippi rivers, canine teeth ripping into our flesh, our skin, our children, sacrificed for those that love religion more than they love humanity, our hope murdered right in front of our very eyes in our most sacred and protected places, our severed bodies dragged across this land, split by futility and hate, our blood all over the flag. We have been patriots already. And so why should we fear now? Black girls have learned love hard. And we learn love hard. Everyone wants to feel us then, throw us down and cuss us out. Young girls sit on stoops and porches having beauty parlor conversations, yet learn to be alone. And strain their withered brown bodies across the hood like a forgotten dream. Black girls learn love hard. No one remembers that we were once beautiful, or smart, or someone's sister, friend, or a human being. We don't get to be sweet, or gentle, or cared for. We have to do it alone. Always strong. Black women so strong, bear the burden. No time to break down, or rest, or be tired. No time for pain or tears. Building strong black families and communities that are tearing apart at the seams. And it's always her mom's fault. Because they say it starts at the home. But no one ever seems to be there. Black girls learn love hard. But even through all your insecurity, I want you to walk on, black woman, walk on. With your head held high, your shoulders back, populate the world with little wide-eyed black girls with big smiles. Walk through life as you are. Let your footprints tell your stories, raise your voice and be counted, wear your crown all the time. Be beautiful because you are beautiful. Be sassy. Walk your rhythms, put your hands on your hips, let the world revel in your brown glory. Walk through life, black woman, freely, without boundary and circumstance. Walk on, black woman, walk on. Like the authorship and poesy of Audre Lorde, with the demands and womanist rhetoric of Angela Davis, with the beautifully painful androgyny of Nefertiti, with the politics of Nikki Giovanni, my girl, walk on. Like the audacious and wavering spirits of Rosa Parks, walk on. With the fiery warrior expertise of Queen Zinga, walk on. With the socio-political identification of Charlie Chisholm, with the soul and dignity of Nina Simone, with the memory of little girls lost to streets, gun violence, adolescent prostitution, domestic abuse, molestation, and sexual exploitation. Walk on. For young women like me, who are working hard and learning to love hard in the face of opposition daily, you are not a stereotype. You are not a statistic. You are a woman. You be black on purpose. And my love, we will see a better tomorrow together.
Rapper and producer Dr. Dre once said, "You just have to find that thing that's special about you that distinguishes you from all the others. And through truth, talent, hard work, and passion, anything can happen." Up next, we're going to have a very special performance by Terry performing his original song that he wrote.
Na, 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 na. I'ma start it off simple. After all this is the intro. Before we get our credentials, they gon' throw it out the window. They gon' say they did it first, they say we did it second. Police shoot you in a second, like damn, give me a second. I'm black and they gon' change, ain't no way to holster their weapon. They envy our succession, in the past and the present. Still ain't pay what they owed us, we pick cotton instead of roses. They say we barbaric, but look how they oppose us. We the one with true color, ain't talking about Crayola. Let me say it slower. Why do you wanna take my soul? Yeah. Why do you wanna take control? Yeah. Why you gotta be so cold? You don't let my flowers grow. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. Let me pay attention, put the seed in the ground. They ain't let me finish. If you don't got it now, then you'll never get it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why do you wanna take control? They don't let them flowers grow. Yeah. Peace.
Felicia Rashad once said, "Everything you do, every thought you have, every word you say creates a memory that you will hold in your body." Up next, we have our very own L Tab, who write their own original pieces and recite their own poetry, Rondell Hendricks. And Jordan Rosena.
Fashion, fashion, passing clothes throughout the masses. It's tragic that no one has a sense of style.
I mean, it's easy, it's fashion. All you're doing is walking like you're talking, talking like you're walking.
Over the top, we stats like it's a game of thrift that we cop.
Let's stop. Do y'all think that our words are better than y'all fashion?
Trash.
I mean, words are life. Life is words. You may never be heard, but we will always be shown.
Like how y'all rock a new pair of J's and jeans and a box over that's fake Supreme. Y'all think it's Gucci.
Or maybe it's Louis. That G turned into an LV. Don't give me that, please.
Now we double C thinking it's flea, but on me, y'all ugly.
Now listen, he ain't trying to be mean, but in order to get it through y'all head, he gotta keep it real. See, here's the deal. Fashion ain't easy. I thought it was just walking like you talking, talking like you walking. I got on stage and failed completely.
See, passionately wearing the clothes I wear makes me a goat. So I flow, and y'all glow over the new things that I cop. Like it's hip-hop, hopscotch, beat bop. It ain't easy to be breezy.
Let's stop. Ain't no point in trying to explain this to them. They don't even understand what clean is. They worry about, should I wear the new J's or the old J's today?
Like it's overdone. Who rocks Chanel anyway? Turn on your channel and see what fashion really means.
Fashion?
Actress Taraji P. Henson once said, "Every human walks around with a certain kind of sadness. They may not wear it on their sleeves, but it's there if you look deep." Now up next, we're going to have a solo performance by Rondell Hendricks.
Hard words break no bones. Hard words break no bones. So how come one tweet can change all of humanity? How come y'all sit here and whine when Trump speaks? Since when did honesty become our #1 enemy? Nowadays, y'all live in these bubbles till they get popped and you get dropped into reality, where these hard words break bones. See, they allowed the Europeans to trick us to believing we was less than human, or turn us against each other because our skin tones were too different. I think they hated us because our skin was filled with melanin and the sun just happened to be our best friend. Here's another one. How we allow a whole nation to be manipulated by a bigot who caused the second worst genocide. I said the second worst because we couldn't account for how the Europeans made our people think they were enemies because of the color of their skin. See, we focus on petty squabbles that we allowed them to take our youth and change our truth. We don't even know what we originated from or who we supposed to send this rage towards. I mean, honestly. Y'all think the advertisement is good for you? They got the youth thinking it's okay to be obese. While they eating Whole Foods, we indulge in fast food. Like, come on, dude. Y'all think the media tell y'all the full truth? They told y'all everything about Jamel Robeson, or how Laquan McDonald could get shot in the back 16 times for walking the other way? Let me stop before I go insane. Public service announcement. When y'all want to wear y'all pants low, remember what's that called? Sagging. And that's spelled backwards? Yeah. And can y'all stop saying Martin Luther King died for us? No, he was killed, gunned down on the balcony of his hotel room. They supposedly found the guy. Lies. So would you rather go right where there's nothing left, or would you rather go left where there's nothing right? Those are two paths where your futures will be out of sight. I mean, they depict us as angry, hatred-filled, not to mention melanin, but isn't that everyone? Angry, hatred-filled, maybe not the melanin. But we all bleed red, all our bones are white, and when we die, there won't be nothing left, because the maggots would have eaten it all by the end of that night. I mean, everyone experienced pain before broken promises, right? I know I have. When your dad say, I'll always be there for you, son, but nowhere to be found. Or I didn't make this one, but I'll dang sure make the next one. And you believe him every time. Or knowing that your mom picked some man before you. Or knowing that she'll never be there for you unless you did. Or got some money to spread. No? Not at all? Okay, cool. Well then, thank you. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
Lauryn Hill said, "We can't plan life. All we can do is be available for it." Now I will be doing my own original piece from LTAC.
So I guess I gotta take y'all to church real quick.
Sister.
It took God 7 days to make light and animals and do other fancy tricks. And all I got to do is flick my light switch. But on the 7th day, he rested. Resting through 300 years of slavery and oppression, rested through black mental health and their depression is invalid. Girls say, "I'm sorry, bae, I'm bipolar." Girl got pregnant, bae gave her the cold shoulder. What's wrong with this? I don't want to be here. I always said if Europeans would have sipped their tea and minded their business and died off from the common cold, instead of building those boats and packing that load, we wouldn't be here. Slaves had white Jesus on their walls, but the book of Revelation said he had copper skin and woolly hair. Let me find out Jesus is my father, and that's why he wasn't ever there. See, don't get it twisted. I'm a Christian, and I know it sounds like I'm contradicting, but look around you. When you pray to your God, what should you be praying to? Ariana Grande, have a seat, and while you're here, stop stealing our culture. We're not talking about God being a woman. See, my God looks like Morgan Freeman, and my Moses is Harriet Tubman, and my Jesus is T'Challa, and my Judas is Justice Smollett because he portrayed both the black and LGBTQ community, and my Mary is Kimberly Elise, the same Kimberly Elise who pushed her husband in the tub because she found out her husband wasn't Joseph and was looking for her Boaz instead. And my people have the audacity to pray to some white God and believe any other God was an idol. When you've been idolized for 300 years. Rebecca wanted to be like Rashonda and hang with the gang and with the mob. What was she thinking? Your hair can't kick like mine, so don't buy those box braids. Your friends can't link like mine, so don't dance that dance. You can't say the N-word, so don't speak my words, and God is still resting. Resting until black bodies drip red, until black boys are no more, until black girls are ravished by savages. Where's your God? Where's your God?
Political activist and civil rights leader Malcolm X once said, "Nobody can give you freedom. Nobody can give you equality or justice or anything. If you're a man, you take it." Up next, we're going to have Nasir Jenkins performing his original piece.
Preheat the oven to 300 years ago. Make sure you tenderize the ancestors by applying slavery and torture. Torch their spirituality and sprinkle the ashes. Soak the soul with olive oil and blood of its mother. Mutter their freedom and humane rights in a rhetorical voice. Let the privilege of living in this country be the only thing it may rejoice. Even though you brought it into your home. Massage the bones with the tombstones of his dead homies. Marinate the neck with the lynchings of lynch mobs. Insert the stuffing of a Caucasian DNA to make it hate a dark complexion. Section encoded with racism and systematic oppression. Drain and strain its pride and keep it segregated due to white privilege. Chop and mince it, make it hate itself. Cube and dice it, make it hate its culture. Sliver and slice it, make it hate its own people. Beat these ingredients. Whip it. Make sure you don't throw the seeds away. You must nip it in the bud. I mean, place it in the mud of media influence so it can grow and flourish. Keep that Negro brain malnourished. Teach them that food for thought is detrimental for its mental. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting too caught up and a little too sentimental. Back to the recipe. You must use your arms for this recipe, yes. Mix and stir it with false information and leave it with scars. Gentrify and keep it behind steel bars. I mean, an oven. Yes. Place the dish in the oven. This bread and butter will toughen and leave the really lynch letter, recipe on the counter just in case you encounter a problem, remeasure. This recipe has been passed down for eons, generations, years. So all I'm asking is to keep passing.
Results are best when you follow instructions on packaging. Also, seasoning included.
Missy Elliott tells us, I know that some people shy away from what I say. They think it is too blunt. But when you don't give people that, they feel like you are being fake and you're not telling the truth. So it's like you want me to tell the truth, but when I do, it's too much for you. So now we will have Jordan Restano, aka Hippie, performing his original piece.
Hello again. This piece is called Black Don't Crack. So, teach, brother. Y'all say black don't crack. But I still shout at my phone screen. Y'all say black don't crack. But we look older than 18. You see these stereotypes that's running through our minds, but I'd rather turn the music up. And they say all of us will be dead or rappers if we don't play ball enough. But you don't want to be held back like a Brian Headline. You want to shoot hoop for some Bill Withers who sing to you to spare change. You want to thrive because black don't crack. But don't take that from me. They already think I'm a thug, so I'll take your money, spend it on drugs, gangs, and my honeys like I smoke and do everything else to be locked up. But y'all say black don't crack. But the system has put a black man out there to crack. Said his cornrows too tight and dreads became another threat. Got our history twisted and hanging by threads. See, mother said the diaspora runs in circles, but never said it would be stuck on a loop. We stuck on repeat. Repeatedly been learning about slavery since a youngin' and brainwashed by white soap. You see our lives on slippery slopes, and y'all say black don't crack. Like it's a metaphor for how we live among the people who stole our youth. Or you're just saying that we will outlive the oppression, outlive us being dehumanized and bought on the auction block like we paintings worth $1 million to admit that we led rebellions. Been cooping up some chicken jokes is all y'all eat and sipping Kool-Aid packets like we on the streets with the gang. And just in a blink you find one of us dead. So y'all say black don't crack like it's not glass. Like our beauty isn't fragile. Like our skins don't bleed native colors. Like black is the only blind. You see, Wakanda is fictional, but we can leave Black Panther with our fist up and still be great. So get up and get out. Don't let no one bring us down or bring it around town because our black cracked for us to be here. See, our black cracked for us to be here. And we use this metaphor just for beauty, but our black cracked for us to be here. So what's your excuse? And don't say they poisoned the chicken either. We are kings and queens. A living definition in black and all this beauty. We the first color in the Crayola box you see because we define and outline everything. And did you realize that everything cuts to black? So we must be important to the media because everything cuts to black. And just like that, black doesn't age because in our history and embedded in our roots. Y'all say black don't crack, but tell that to my niece.
Lil Kim says, the streets made me. They stay at me. There's nothing that's going to take away from my legacy. I'm sorry, it is what it is. I'm dying this way with my crown on my head. Nobody can take nothing away from me. It is what it is. I am who I am, bottom line. So now we will have my very own MC partner, Cheyenne Robinson, with her own original piece.
As a black male in this country, my brother has a target on his back. As a black female, I have two. The amount of pigment in my skin has damned me from the jump. The moment I came out of the womb, my black skin and woolly hair has made me prey to a predatory society. A society that made me believe that my Barbies had no worth if they were not blonde-haired and blue-eyed. That I had no worth if I was not blonde-haired and blue-eyed. I live in a country where I am considered disrespectful if I do not stand for an anthem that conveniently leaves out the part that disgraces my heritage. As if I, myself, do not have family that has defended this country more than this country has defended them. The blood of my ancestors has been diluted without their consent. Their culture beaten out of them, mother tongues ripped from their mouths, forcing them into quiet assimilation, the oppression beating down on them like the hot sun they were made to work under. I live in a nation divided, under a religion that justified the mistreatment of my people, a nation where my people were paraded around in human zoos, treated as inhumane creatures, as a source of entertainment, as playthings. They keep us around, not as equals, but as exhibits, subjects to study and mimic guinea pigs to practice their appropriation on. My cornrows and bantu knots keep me from a corporate cubicle, while theirs grace the runway at every fashion week. My big full lips mocked for generations, while they pay for the same feature and are praised. My diction and slang ridiculed, while Bethany is considered sassy and my hip-hop is degraded. Told it's a disgrace to the world of music, while their hip-hop overshadows ours with its lack of rhythm and stories that are universal across all shades of brown. These culture vultures took our crowns and gowns, replaced them with shackles and rags, tore down our dynasties and replaced them with Eurocentric ideologies. How? How was this possible? I just can't seem to comprehend why my melanated skin and combed out kinks make me a target for aggression. Why I am told to leave this land and go back to my own as if my ancestors weren't forcibly snatched from the place I should belong and brought here, forced to work, forced to birth, forced to swallow their humanity and be treated as less than nothing, while my people are treated as less than, still treated as less than, and will be treated as less than by those who are not more than. They ask us, why do you make everything about race? As if we were the ones who originated that idea. They ask us, why do you make everything about race? As if my people aren't the ones demonized and characterized. They ask us, why do you make everything about race? As if blackface doesn't still exist in 2019. The next time they ask us why we make everything about race, I will tell them that my race is black and black is beautiful. I will tell them that my race is all I have to hold on to, that my race is a life jacket in this sea of systemic racism, that my race is the last remnant of what great people my people used to be.
So thank you all for coming out to our Black History program. We hope that you all enjoyed yourselves, and we hope that you all took something from today's performances. There's about a minute left in the period, so feel free to talk amongst yourselves. And yeah, thank you for coming.
What happened to your mind, black child? You are as bright as the skin of your counterpart, yet you don't believe. You fear the reality of an urban education. Who didn't tell you that GPA measures your responsibility, not your intelligence? You are informed, black child. So why does your head bow in submission, missing a cultural history of resistance and pride? You are resisting pride, black child. Why do you fear the dictionary? The one tool that elevates you above the masses. Yes, it reminds you of how much you don't know, but why do you fear the unknown? Black child, why are you so angry? Harassing your peers with snickers and sneers, solipsistic, and thinking no one knows your story. Don't fool yourself. Pity is the devil's playground. Whoever told you war is a means of peace forgot. Violence begets violence, black child, and you, I see my reflection. And I can't help but wonder, who did it tell you to manifest your destiny? Dream your history, read your reality, catch the obstacles thrown at you and crush them with your integrity. Reignite your fight, your drive, and win. Black child, grow. Grow like the implantations and manipulations of George Washington Carver. Like the demands and feminist rhetoric of Angela Davis. Like the beautifully painful androgyny of Nefertiti. Like the politics of Nikki Giovanni. Fred, grow. Like the fatherless children of Chicago struggling towards an education. Cacao, the little Ying Poo, and the millions of other baby girls abandoned in China, thok for the adolescents in Mexico, working to support the family Kubisha Hodi, for the boy in Cape Town, fighting the plague of HIV/AIDS that stole his parents' growth for the little boy who sees these downfalls as a means to rise up and be the best that I can. I will be the best that I can be, Ying Pu. Zangshi Hada, Tanku Yi en Mexico, el mejor, los jóvenes que se puede en South Africa. Vijana Nagora, Wadeweja Kua. Capitalization on acculturation happened to your mind, black child. And even still through all of that, I look at each and every one of you and I see warriors. So black child, grow and fight so that we can see our futures together.